Liverpool go to Wolves in the Saturday Night Football live on Sky Sports. Will goalkeeper Alisson be fit after missing the last two games through injury? Vinny O'Connor was at Arne Slot's news conference earlier. He's already held his. What news did he have on his number one then?
I think there's a good chance that Alisson will return to the side at the weekend, Hayley. Judging from what Arne Slot had to say, at least, and it kind of highlights the quality that Liverpool have got in that position at the moment. Alisson has already kept 3 clean sheets in his 5 appearances this season. Since the injury, Kelleher's come in and done well because Liverpool have conceded chances as well. So there's no real reason to rush Alisson back. They will take a check on him today, obviously, to see whether he's ready. But certainly from what Arne Slot had to say, there's every chance and the signs are looking good, at least, for Alisson to return to the squad this weekend.
He trained yesterday a part of our session with the group, so we expect him to do the whole session today. So we think he's available, but of course we have to train today. And of course we're really happy with Alisson being back, but I want to emphasize on the fact that Queeve did really well in the 2 games he was on goal for us. So another example of me having 2 and I think even 3 good options in certain position in this in goal.
At the other end of the pitch, Luis Diaz started the season, in sublime form in front of goal. Slot, however, got a bit of a surprise when he heard how many goals the Colombian scored last season.
Yeah, 8 goals. He also had that serious situation when his parents were kidnapped, obviously, so had to deal with things off the pitch, Luis Diaz. But it was still a disappointing return, I suppose, in many respects. And this season, he's kind of been a big part of Liverpool's forward line that is really producing now. It's almost an embarrassment of riches that Arne Slot has up there at the moment. You're looking at Diogo Jota, who scored 2 goals against West Ham in midweek after 4 games without scoring. He, of course, opened his account on the opening day of the season. Mo Salah still producing big numbers, 4 goals in his 7 appearances so far. Gakpo off the mark this season now with 2 against West Ham, following a really impressive performance against AC Milan in the San Siro. And we've seen Darwin Núñez start back-to-back games as well, scoring against Bournemouth, getting off the mark for the season there. Also, Arne Slot's been able to give minutes to Chiesa recently, so we're still waiting to see exactly what he can produce for Liverpool. But in terms of what Luis Diaz is doing at the moment, well, he's Liverpool's top scorer so far this season. 5 goals in 6 appearances so far. Rested against West Ham, of course, but he scored 2 against Bournemouth. Also scored 2 at Old Trafford in that 3-0 win against Manchester United as well. So they're the kind of numbers that Arne Slot knows that Luis Diaz can produce and kind of expects from Luis Diaz as well.
It's mainly also in this last third of the pitch, the quality of the player and the finishing he has, and I think he always had this. And I wasn't even that aware of the fact that how many goals did he score last season? 8. Okay. For me, he was someone who could score a goal, and 8 is for his quality, not of his standards, I would say. But did he play a lot? Did he play every game? Yeah. Okay. So then I think he just comes back to his normal situation. Maybe he was a bit unlucky last season, but a player of his quality will always score a lot of goals in every season.
I think it's fair to say Wolves haven't had a very good start to the season at all. Slot, you must see this as a bit of an opportunity to continue the good start, of course, at Liverpool.
Yeah, I think Arne Slot kind of put it in context for Wolves, though, as well. He says that they've been given a much more difficult start to the season than Liverpool have had. Yeah, and Arne Slot has also made the point that he's inherited a really, really good squad here at Liverpool. At the same time, of course, he's had to make it work himself and produce results. And we look at his record so far since taking over from Jurgen Klopp and the start of this season. 7 games played, 6 wins in that time. That's 4 out of 5 in the Premier League, of course. 4 clean sheets, just 3 goals conceded, 18 goals scored, just 1 blank, the defeat to Nottingham Forest. And since that defeat, though, it's 11 goals in 3 against Milan, Bournemouth and West Ham as well. So it's coming up to a bit more, another testing time, really, for Liverpool. They've got these games against Wolves and then Crystal Palace, but then it's Chelsea at home and Arsenal away, and they might provide a bit more of a sterner test. But certainly Arne Slot wants to carry a momentum into those 2 games, starting once again against Wolves this weekend.
It's been a positive start with a small disappointment of us losing at home against Nottingham Forest. I think every home game you lose is a disappointment, especially if it's not against the team that's competing for a top 4 position. Although you never know what Nottingham Forest is going to do this season, but that was definitely a disappointment. But overall, it's been a good start. Not a perfect one, because then we would have won. We should have won the game I was just referring to. But the style we play, the way we play, is still very close, I think, to what you guys were used to for 9 years. And which is quite normal, because we almost have all the same players like Jurgen had, and keeping results going is a good thing. Again, I have to mention about that the fixture list has been good to us, although you never know, maybe in 17 or 18 games these teams that are now on the bottom side of the table maybe go up in the upcoming weeks or months. So it's been a good start, but not a perfect one.
And we said beforehand, Haley, didn't we, that we would ask about contract situation. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, all out of contract in the summer, and it was taken as read from Arne Slot. He's not giving anything away once again. All he would say is that he's happy he can pick them this season, and then we will see what happens after that.
So we're going to move on to Liverpool next. They are aiming for a 5th win from their opening 6 games as they head to Molineux to take on Wolves, who find themselves winless and bottom of the table after an awful start to the season.
First of all, how's Alisson? Is he ready to return? Where is he in his recovery?
We think he is. He trained yesterday a part of our session with the group, so we expect him to do the whole session today. So we think he's available, but of course we have to train today. And of course we're really happy with Alisson being back, but I want to emphasize on the fact that Queeve did really well in the 2 games he was on goal for us. So another example of me having 2, and I think even 3 good options in certain position in this in goal.
Whereas in your forward line, you've got 6 options. Just thinking, Jota scored 2 goals against West Ham. Salah's got 4 goals in his 7 games so far. Gakpo's off the mark with 2 against West Ham. Nunes started back-to-back games and scored against Bournemouth, and Luis Diaz 5 goals in 6 appearances so far. Add to that, you've been able to give Chiesa minutes. So talk us through how you look at, or how would you describe the decisions you've got to make when selecting your starting forward line?
For me, it says 2 things. It says, one, that these players have a lot of quality, and second of all, it says that the team is always creating chances for the players that we are selecting for that game. Because if we play Cody or if we play Lucio, the team is just creating chances for these individuals, and because they have so much quality, they can make this promote this to assists or goals. So yeah, that's what it says to me.
Also, it's just, I need to follow up on that, just because it's showing that they're sharp as well, whether they've been out of the side, they're coming in and producing. How are you able to maintain that sharpness when they're not necessarily getting, the maximum amount of minutes?
Yeah, that's the positive thing about playing so many games, that these players will always play a lot of games. And I think they understand that they can't play every game unless it's absolutely necessary. To keep them fit and sharp and to keep them ready to perform like they do. So as long as they accept the situation as it is, and that's what they're doing at the moment, because they have good numbers, and I see them smile a lot as well, then it's a very positive thing for us, and that's also one of my things on my job. I have to keep them alert and happy in the position they are in.
Finally, for me, I think I know the answer to this as well, but with regards to contract situations, obviously there's further talk of Trent being offered a new contract, continues to be linked with Real Madrid. How disappointed would you be if you only got to work with Trent and or Virgil or Mo for just 1 year? Because I'm guessing you're not going to bring us up to date on what the contract situation is at the moment.
No, and you are just trying to find another way of asking me. I'm very happy that these 3 players are in my team at the moment, and there are a lot of games to be played in this season, and especially also in the upcoming week and weeks. So I'm really happy that I can select them, and let's see what the future brings.
Continuing on with that theme of the depth of the squad, Curtis Jones obviously impressing in midweek as well, particularly after the change of position, when it's so necessary in this busy period that you've already spoken about. How impressed are you with this inherited squad's willingness to learn, adapt on the job, on the go?
I think I've said it on many occasions already that I'm really happy with the squad I inherited, not only because of their quality, but maybe even more about the culture that Jurgen left behind. So all these players are team players, so they accept their role even if they are not playing, and they always want to work hard for the team first. And it's been a privilege to inherit a squad like I inherited from Jurgen.
Wolves, obviously the opposition, struggling to get off the mark this season, just 1 point from their 5 games. What do you expect from them this weekend?
I don't think it represents the way they played, and they had a very tough fixture list in the first 5 games. I think they played Arsenal away, Newcastle away, Villa away, Chelsea at home. So yeah, that's a more difficult schedule than we had, for example. So you always have to take this into account. And of course, I had to watch a few games of them because we play them tomorrow, and I can see that even the games were very tight and they deserved more than they got a few times. So I think they will be fine during the season. Hopefully not tomorrow, but they will be fine in the end of the season.
Right. Hi there, Arne. More encouraging signs this week with the victories against Bournemouth and West Ham. But in both games, you gave up quite a lot of chances to the opposition. How much of a concern is that? Because excellent goalkeeping from Quibine Kelleher in both games, but you can't always guarantee that goalkeeping excellence, even despite the fact you've got quality in that position.
Yeah. Now, the last thing you say is very important for us in the last 2 games, that we have a lot of quality in that position. On the other hand, we create a lot of chances as well. But in an ideal world, we don't concede as much as we did in the last 2 games. But if there's one big difference for me between my former club and the competition I worked in and this competition, is that every team has so many quality players in their squad and in their team that they're always able to create chances as well. So you also have to give credit to the teams we face and the quality they are having, but we need to do better in that aspect if we want to keep clean sheets more and more often. So we keep emphasizing on that. One of the reasons why the other team doesn't score that easy, it's also because we have a good goalkeeper. But if you every time count the bodies that are inside our 18-yard box the moment the other team gets a chance, that's also a real positive thing, and it makes it more difficult for the other team to score as well.
Great kid. I'm absolutely devastated for him because of the energy and the life and the no matter how things go each week, he gives absolutely everything, and he always attacks things and does things in the right way. So a big loss to us from that point of view. And of course, he was showing signs that he was capable of playing at the level that we were hoping that he was going to be able to play at. So from a team and a squad point of view, a big blow to us, obviously. But with that brings opportunity for others. And, so Alfie Pond, for instance, gets a step closer. A boy that was obviously out on loan last year at Stockport, played for us in the Cup at Brighton. Is extremely excited this week that he's up and around it and as a chance of featuring in Premier League games. So with all of it, I am absolutely gutted for Yerson, and of course it's a blow to the group and where we are. But we have a real good mentality inside the place that we don't let things like that stop what we're trying to do and what we're trying to be. So the message from me is you're always going to suffer setbacks in a Premier League season. This one, a big one, of course, especially for Yerson personally. But we will find a way to make sure that we still capable of fighting and picking up points to get us where we need to get to.
In terms of some other players, how's Tosti? Is he kind of fit and ready to go this weekend?
We'll test him again in the morning. He's trained a bit this week. I wouldn't say he was fully fit, but obviously there is still another day to go and he's getting closer. So, yeah, a little bit more to do, make sure that he came out of today without anything. Ideal world, you'd probably leave him a little bit longer, but we'll see how he is tomorrow.
Just last point to check on. You mentioned last week Dan Bentley had an illness. How is?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of illness actually. So there's probably a few that will need a check tomorrow on how they're feeling. But Bence is okay now, so Bence will be fine to be around the matchday squad tomorrow.
I mean, you probably don't want to give too much away, but do you want to share any of the other players?
No, we just had a little bit of a virus going around. So Dr. Kai's been busy this week trying to help the lads feel a little bit better, and quite a few missed training today. So we'll see how we are tomorrow. I'm still really, it's a fantastic home game against Liverpool, and we've got a few little issues going on at the moment, and but looking forward to getting back out there in front of the home fans and making it as difficult as possible for Liverpool, which is what we tried to do every time we played one of the big sides, and looking forward to seeing what we can do tomorrow.
This Liverpool and the way that they've been defending at the start of the season has been a huge talking point. But I want to talk about one of their defenders and his future. Because Trent Alexander-Arnold and whether he will still be at Liverpool next season has been such a big talking point. An interesting one as well. He's one of 3 very seniors who are out of contract in the summer. He's still performing though. It doesn't look like it's affecting him in any way.
No, you can't let it affect you. Contracts are one of those things where you're going to get one, whether it's at the club that you've come through the academy at, which in his case, I, from a neutral, would love to see that. I would love to see him be a one-club man. Yeah. The most important thing is that he continues to play the game, continues doing the simple things, continues the great distribution that he's known for, improving in areas in terms of his defensive elements. But I would still give him a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10 for his defensive perspective, from a defensive perspective. But Liverpool, they dominate possession, so you don't really need to think or worry too much about how his defensive game is. I do want to see him stay, but there's plenty of time for that. Look, there's a new manager in. He needs to see and figure out what he wants from the team, how he wants his team to play, which is not that dissimilar to Jurgen Klopp, but I feel like it's a little bit more defensive-minded, so he's not going gung-ho, he's not always going for another goal. But again, I do quite feel like that suits Trent's game.
We saw an assist there from Trent for Diaz in the last little clip. He's up to 59 assists now. His assist against Bournemouth took him to 59. It's remarkable when you consider where he plays. He's now 3rd on the all-time list for Liverpool. He just surpassed Steve McManaman.
I mean, he's such a beautiful player to watch when he is, especially in that kind of system, when he's playing under a Dutch manager, a German manager, anyone who's going full-blown attacking play, and you can see what he can do on the ball. I think what's so fascinating about him is that why we love him so much is because he is so ambitious, and that's why perhaps he is looking to see how he can satisfy that ambition. And he's so concentrated right now. He talked about this in an interview that he said, I do want to be a great defender because defense wins championships. And I think there are some moments where you can have like a glitch or a drop in concentration and the lack of awareness around who's around you. For example, in that match against Real Madrid in the final of the Champions League, these things matter. And I think that he set himself this target, and he said that I've asked Arne Slot to be very tough with me. So I want you to tell me off if I'm not doing well. And he's doing all this extra work on the defensive side of it, which makes you think, I really want this player to stay, because look at the ambition that he has to improve himself, and that's why you would want him to stay. But yes, he's now combining the duality of role. We already know that he's so brilliant going forward, and now he's trying to improve the defensive side. He's going to be a perfect player, and you'd want to keep him if you're Liverpool.
Yeah, one player who has been outstanding for Liverpool at the start of the season is Luis Diaz. We saw him scoring in that last clip there, assisted by Trent. He's got 5 goals in 4 Premier League appearances, starting the season like a house on fire. What do you like about what you're seeing?
I love how raw he is, like the raw pace. I love that he's not afraid to attack defenders. What I feel like Liverpool missed out on last season, obviously he had a very serious personal issue. Yeah. He had injuries last season, so it kind of interrupted his progression. This is the player that Liverpool signed. This is what they were looking for when he put pen to paper. He's bringing everything. He's got the physicality. He's a small guy, but he's got the physicality. I love him as a player, genuinely love him as a player.
So much depth in that Liverpool forward line. It's like you look around and there are so many different options you can go for. Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota. You can bring on Federico Chiesa that they've just brought in, who just managed that beautiful assist. Was it a goal? Was it intended to be a goal? Was it supposed to be an assist? And then obviously you've got, Luis Diaz in this kind of form. You just think whoever they substitute, they can rest whoever they like, and whoever will come on will do the job for them.
Midweek, and they did it with a 3-0 win against Bournemouth. And although there were interesting goal scorers with Luis Diaz, who'd had a really good start to this season, Darwin Núñez, who has been hot and cold since he's started playing for Liverpool, with a fantastic goal in that one. Really, a lot of the focus has been on Ryan Gravenberch. In the centre of that Liverpool midfield. Yeah. Owen Hargreaves sat here a few weeks ago in your position. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to do this against the big sides. If he's not a naturally defensive-minded player playing in that situation, he might struggle. But for now, Tim, it seems as though it's working.
He looks like a defensive-minded, responsible footballer and who can play the number 6 role. I saw him as a number 8. Yes, he didn't have a rhythm of games under Klopp. But I think he's got all the attributes to play in the 6th role. It's a controlling influence. It looks like when he gets the ball, it's not a hot potato. He looks like he's very confident. It looks like he owns the pitch when he receives the ball. Look, he strolls into these areas. And when he gets past the midfield, it's like breaking lines with a pass. He breaks it with movement. Look how he bursts into areas. And now they've got a real problem. He picks the pass out. It's a poor finish on that occasion. I think he's got the whole package. When he needs to break it up, he does. He gives it simple. He gives it to people who can play. Responsibility is the biggest thing for that position. You need to be a game controller, control the tempo of the game. I think he's capable of doing that. Look at that. That's Patrick Vieira, that little glimpse there. I mean, he's got a long way before he gets to Patrick's standard. But look, responsible, middle of the pitch, always available and ticking the game over. And if you want to go and express yourself and have shots and burst yourself forward, you're capable of doing it. Big boy, 6'3", he's capable of doing it. For me, I think they've stumbled around a defensive midfield player who looks like he's really enjoying the role. He's playing alongside McAllister there and Szoboszlai. I think they've got a wonderful midfield, I really do. Yeah, it's really interesting because he spoke, and you only need to look at that to realise, what he's getting right in terms of his position and everything that's required of him. But he spoke when he was on international duty with the Netherlands about how much more Arne Slot's style of football suits him compared to Jurgen Klopp's. Because this isn't a player who's come from nowhere. He's always been known as a technical footballer, as a gifted footballer, but it hasn't quite clicked for him anywhere. This position seems to have done that for him.
Maybe so as well, Kels. And the thing is, when you read some of the Bayern Munich fan chats, and even the man, they were disappointed that he left. And I think that with Bayern Munich playing with a double pivot, they didn't believe that he could fit into that. But when you watch him, especially when he's coming from the 6, and then you see when he can pass it through the line, he can progress through the line, he could be in a 10 and have a shot. So when you say that maybe it didn't suit him with Klopp, it's because it seems like Liverpool are playing in that area a bit more, where the play can be built up, where he can either be the one that's building, or while it's building, he could be the one that's making the run, like we saw in one of those clips. But you could say that with the Zubimendi not going through, they could have really unearthed the one for themselves now, because when you watch those games, and obviously we want to see him against maybe the top 3, top 4, and if he's putting in those kind of performance, then obviously Liverpool have struck gold, because he seems to have everything. He's got all the attributes. Yeah.
And we've seen how much that player has cost over the years, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen
like 100 millions and 90 millions and 70 millions for the number 6. I mean, he's relatively cheap.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, as a player, he's got that game intelligence. He's got the discipline to be able to play in the 6. He played in attacking midfield position against Milan the other day. And the talk has been, because the guys have been asking Arne Slot, what do you want to do with him? And Arne Slot has been saying that because he's such a versatile player, so adaptable, he's got that licence, really, to play him in different positions until he gets to January. And if, as seems the case, Zubimendi still does want to... Because apparently he's changed his mind.
He wants to come now.
Now he's seeing how Ryan Gravenberch is going on.
Let me get there quick.
So it might well be the case that he does end up there. But even if he does, as you've been saying, in Zubimendi, you've got a player with a wide skill set.
But I find that really interesting from a coaching perspective as well, because great coaches have not quite been able to unlock what Ryan Gravenberch has to offer. Arne Slot has come in. I'm saying Arne Slot isn't a great coach, but he's not, you know, in terms of what he's achieved in the game, he's not on the level of, say, Klopp. But he's been able to bring that out of him. Obviously, it's got to come from the player, but I'm interested in the coaching perspective.
Well, that happens.
As well.
I mean, he's getting individual. He's coaching them individually. He's obviously looking at the footage of the games, seeing what he does well, seeing what he can improve on. It's really key that you play in that 6th role, you're checking your shoulder and you're getting turned on your back foot. I think he does that instantly anyway. You need to be responsible when you're doing it in there. He's getting more and more confidence with the games he's playing. The manager's saying, no, you're my man in there. And you've got McAllister, who's a very good, intelligent footballer next to him. Sloboslow wants to break it up and charge forward, opens up space. And when he sees the space, he's giving him that encouragement to say, do you know what? Burst into that area. You're not restricted to the 6. If you're correct to leave and vacate that area, someone is sitting there for you. It's a rotation, which he's picking up really well. I think he's obviously a very intelligent footballer, and the manager likes him, which means he wants to listen to the manager. I will listen to the manager if he's going to pick me. I'm at one of the biggest clubs I'm ever going to be at. There's an opportunity here of building something and challenging in the Premier League. Why wouldn't I listen to this man? And I think that's what you're getting at the moment.
And you have to look as well, Kel, as the timing of him being there, and where he finds himself with Arne Slot coming in, with who wants to play a different kind of game than maybe Jurgen was playing. And he is now matured. He's been at big clubs. He's matured and he's in a position where he's playing where he looks physically completely ready. Technically, he's obviously ready. So it's just sometimes, it's just the timing's right at that moment. And then, like Zubimendi, you know, he's meant to come and he hasn't come. Maybe that's another sign for him to maybe think, you know what, let me really kick on now. And so, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing him later on in the season playing against some of the bigger guys to see if he can still perform like that. Because if he does, then it's really great news for Liverpool.
Yeah, there are, as you say, tougher tests still to come. We saw a little bit of what they were capable of against AC Milan in the Champions League in midweek. So that's maybe a bit more of an idea of what they can do against bigger sides. And they won that one relatively comfortably in the end, despite an early scare. But does it solve, in a way, or does it knock on to what Slot wants to do with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has yet again been quite open about the fact that he's not necessarily committing his long-term future to Liverpool, because he used him in that Forest game in which nobody at Liverpool played well in that defeat by Forest, but he used him in midfield, bringing Conor Bradley on at right back. Does it give us an insight into what might happen with Trent?
Yes and no. Yes, in so much as obviously they're taking a longer-term view. Well, Slot is certainly in terms of the recruitment and the way that he's going about his business. Knowing so much as Trent's a superb player, and we know that he does have that versatility about his game. We also know Real Madrid are looking at him, and the whole contract situation in relation to him benefits him, because he then can look at what Slot does, how good he is, whether or not he is in line to compete for the title, compete for the Champions League or not. Even if they were to go on and win those things, then you could turn around and say, well, what else is there for me to do as a young player heading into my mid-20s? Is there another challenge at a club like Real Madrid? So it's a win-win for him. In terms of Liverpool, they could end up losing a really good player.
But when you look at what he's won at Liverpool, he could probably say that now. I think when what Trent's doing now, he's got to be careful, because we saw what happened with Stevie. When they love you as much as they love a homegrown Liverpool player, and it starts getting into this stage of their contract, it's very tough for them. I think that Trent now is in mid-contract, he's probably in mid-contract negotiations, Kels, and he has to look at all the options, what he's got around him. But we could never get into this vicinity of what he's going through as a Liverpudlian at Liverpool, with everything going on around you. He's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League. He's one of the great Liverpool players. He'll probably go down as one of them.
Well, do you know, I interviewed him last year. One of the things he said was he started the After Academy for players in his area who didn't make it, who didn't go into football. And that investment back into where he's come from, his local community, shows exactly what you're saying. That's what it means to him.
That's what it means, yeah.
I don't want to test anybody's memory too much, but what were you doing on this day 33 years ago? Do you know?
No.
Not go back in your diary that far?
No.
Look,
Did I do something?
you were signing for Arsenal.
The 25. Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
it's the 23rd of September.
You don't look thrilled about it. I'll be honest.
No, because what happens, Kels, is that he's upset that I didn't have a suit on.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's upset that I came. Yeah, I came with a jacket and just a baseball cap, and he wasn't happy. So
Yeah, you've always been a man of fashion.
Well,
he's old-fashioned, George.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was just a symbol of my individuality, and I couldn't lose it.
How did you get on at Arsenal? Did
It
you all
went
right?
okay,
Did it go
Kels.
okay?
It went okay. A couple of weeks after that.
Tim and Darren, thank you very much for coming in to chat to us. Another big week of Premier League action coming up for us next weekend, and we'll be here to reflect on all of it. Same time next Monday. Bye-bye.